Hello, my name is Miles, and today I'll be arguing for the introduction of Stephen Chbosky's 1999 novel, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, into the module Texts That Challenge Assumptions of Our Humanity. This novel questions the expectations that people who have suffered trauma will continue the cycle of abuse, and portrays to the audience that it is by the confronting of one's trauma and the victim choosing not to perpetuate the cycle, but to rather rise above, that the cycle of violence is broken. The cycle of abuse is a theory that involves a vicious and brutal rhythmic pattern of mistreatment and control, with an uneven distribution of power. The theory was developed by American psychologist Leonore Walker, who documented and discussed the cycle of abuse. She interviewed 1,500 women who had been subject to domestic violence and found out that there was a similar pattern of abuse. Initially, Walker proposed that the cycle of abuse described the controlling patriarchal behavior of men who felt entitled to abuse their wives to maintain control over them. But I believe it goes even further, to the extent that any abusive relationship has been caused by a previous abusive relationship. The Perks of Being a Wallflower revolves around a character named Charlie, who, to cope with the suicide of his best friend and the anxiety of starting high school alone, begins writing letters to someone he doesn't know, and we as an audience never get to know. Charlie is an outcast who feels everything quite intensely, making him the best encapsulation of an average adolescent audience member, a person fueled by hormones and emotions. This is further expanded in the quote, "It's strange because sometimes I read a book and I think I am the people in the book," where Chbosky is making a meta-commentary on his own work, subtly breaking the fourth wall as Charlie is extending his relatability to the audience, as the reader will be thinking the same thing about Charlie. In Perks of Being a Wallflower, the abuse that surrounds these characters is a paragon of the way they contend with the violence around them, and the destroying cycle that said violence creates. Charlie observes a rape at a party at an early age, and within his own family, he witnesses his sister being physically hit by her boyfriend. He also sees the abuse his Aunt Helen and grandmother had to endure from their partners. Helen perpetuated the cycle of abuse when she molested Charlie, leaving Charlie, like her, with a morass of unresolved emotions, ones that he spends his adolescence trying to alternately repress and accept, which highlights a common contradiction throughout humanity, as it is often those who have been victims of sexual abuse being the main perpetrators. This contradiction is further extended to where it is often those who are meant to protect us, our parents or people in power, being the ones who cause us the most trauma. Chbosky's decision to feature a male victim of sexual violence along with a female perpetrator erodes the persistent female victim male offender paradigm. The Perks of Being a Wallflower gives the most traumatized characters opportunity to actively seek help in order to confront their trauma, where they can break the cycle of abuse. Charlie breaking this pattern is the main human experience, as it is through his developed relationships and his moral continuity that he can start to grow and heal as a person. Charlie chooses to act on the despair and anger caused by his abuse in a positive outlet, expressed in the quote, "But even if we don't have the power to choose where we come from, we can still choose where we go from there." He is saying that although most would indulge in self-pity, Charlie chooses to act pragmatically and to terminate the cycle of abuse with his actions. These actions being the building of a friendship and love, seen with the development of his efficacious relationship with Sam, a sympathetic and loving person he met at his first high school party. Even though Charlie has made both conscious and unconscious efforts in order to not turn out like the person that hurt him, he goes even further in the end of the book, making a vow to keep the cycle broken, where he thinks of his future children and how he's really going to listen to them. He says, "I think if I have kids and they are upset, I won't tell them that people are starving in China or anything like that, because it won't change the fact that they are upset. And even if someone has it much worse than you, that doesn't really change the fact that you have what you have, good and bad." It is only when Charlie confronts his trauma and releases the pent-up emotion inside of him that he can truly heal and become the person that he wants to be, not one controlled by their abuse. For these reasons, The perks of being a wallflower should be included in the module Texts that challenge assumptions about humanity.